So I think it's now about the right time to give the floor to Nicola Redi, that is coming from the venture capital industry, but he's also an expert of open innovation, and probably would like to add something to your presentation. And so, Nicola, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Andrea. For the sake of variety, I will be standing for a while, and also for the sake of technical reasons, I hope you can hear me, because I'm too tall. That's why I was looking for that microphone. Okay, great. So, well, good afternoon. What I'm basically supposed to speak about is how we venture capitalists look to academic entrepreneurship and technology transfer, but I'd love to, let's say, comment a little bit at the end also about venture capital itself, so it's not just speaking about universities and academic technology transfer. So first, let's start from ourselves. So never trust investors, okay? This is the starting point. If you just look for money and money is your main goal, you don't have nothing. So you still are a poor man. So money cannot be the goal of technology transfer. Professor Piccaluga was very straightforward and said, yeah, we want to transfer our technologies. If we make money, that would be nice. Now, I have to make money, otherwise I will be out of business. But nevertheless, we make money only if you have a higher goal. Otherwise, money for money doesn't pay back. And this is very relevant because in several occasions, I'm still hearing that we need more venture capital, we need more financing, while on reality, if you look to the figures, and we've studied them both at European and Italian level, money is there. It's badly spent, but money is there. So it's just a matter of how you spend your money, what are the financial tools that you use for promoting innovation, and not really just enhancing money for itself. We spoke about innovation. Now, when it comes to innovation, it's not just having new ideas, not just having an invention. But we want to change people's lives. This is our goal. Whether we do it through market products, market services, or even government innovation, whatever it is, this is our final objective. Innovation is the driver for economic development. This has been clearly recognized by European Union as the way for promoting our well-being all around our 28/27 countries. We don't know yet, we are still 28. And this is what we want to have, changing people's lives. Now, the way innovation occurs is through this paradigm that we call Open Innovation 2.0. You know, Open Innovation 2.0 stretches the framework. I basically stole this slide from the Interlab presentation of 2013 during a European meeting about open innovation. Open Innovation 2.0 is leveraging innovation ecosystems. Innovation ecosystems are like living beings. You have firms, you have universities, big firms, small firms, startups, you have users, you have government. We saw previously the quadruple helix, okay? This is relevant. We need to have all the components of an ecosystem working together. This is the only way we can innovate. And this is exactly, let's say, how we would like to implement policies and how we would like, as venture capitalists, to work on in the future. Now, who are the main actors of innovation ecosystems? We have talked about small, medium enterprises, but in reality, a recent research that was published as a chapter in the Open Innovation Annual Report, published 2016 by the European Union, and actually was written by Alberto Di Minin from Scuola Sant'Anna. Alberto made a research, and he basically discovered that the drivers of innovation ecosystem in the framework of Open Innovation 2.0 are big firms. The big firms have the power, have the vision, have the patient, have the organizational assets to promote innovation ecosystems. They know how to manage R&D partnership. They know how to leverage several partners in innovation all over the world and in the premises of their innovation hubs. So this is just one picture taken from the Philips Eindhoven facility that was, it's basically a facility created by Philips in order to promote an ecosystem of innovation based on the Open Innovation 2.0 framework. Small medium enterprises are as relevant as well. They do not have the power to manage open innovation systems. They don't have the organizational and the patient, the organizational, let's say, framework and the patients, but they're flexible. They're very fast. They can easily adapt. And they will be much beneficial for themselves to cope with the big firms, but they also will provide significant benefits to big firms. It's very common in the Italian scenario that you see around big companies. In industrial districts, you see small companies. We have an industrial district that is the second in Europe for medical devices. And it's full of small companies, around 5 to 6 million turnover, that are FDA and Food and Drug Administration certified. They have been, in the past, maybe part of big corporations, and they push new products forward, which eventually become part of the product portfolio of big corporations. So they are fast, they can easily adapt, that is called the gazelle companies, and this is the role of SMEs that we would like to see in open innovation ecosystems. So we talk about big firms, we talk about SMEs. How about technology transfer? Technology transfer is basically the pipeline. It's like the blood system, the blood circulation system of an innovation ecosystem. So we want technologies and knowledge to be spread around the innovation ecosystem itself, and universities are the spillover. Now, I didn't put water, I put wine, because I believe that you are very good spillovers. So universities have much more value in what they spill into an innovation ecosystem. And they spill value not just in the shape of intellectual property, not just in the shape of spin-off companies, but also people, contract research, graduate people, PhD students. This is your knowledge that is transferred into the ecosystem. So universities have the crucial role in open innovation ecosystem to be the knowledge spillovers. The question is, how about entrepreneurial universities? Because we have been talking much about entrepreneurial universities. Does it mean that we have to transform universities into entrepreneurial companies? What does it really mean to have an entrepreneurial university? The first point, in my eyes, is this one. Do not just think about technologies on their own. Think about user-centered technologies. Put your user at the heart of your development process. Whether it is a patient, whether it is another company that needs new technology, whether it is a consumer, he is or she is in the middle of the technology. She has the need, he has the need of the service, the product that you're thinking about whenever you're developing a new technology. If this is not the case, well, most probably you're not going to innovate. You're just inventing something, but you're not innovating based on the definition I gave you before. OECD states that 80% of the value that you can capture out of innovation is in the adoption phase. When you commercialize something, here it is where you create value. Not just producing innovation, not just producing technology, that you create value. And basically, the MIT definition, innovation, is there only once it's adopted. So this is unfortunately, let's say, a perspective that, I mean, even myself as an engineer, I found very hard to, let's say, get that knowledge when I start doing this job, but this is very relevant for all technology transfer offices, and of course, transfer that information to the research group. Always put your final customer in the middle of your development and know that if your innovation is not worth someone, is not worth for the market, this is not going to be innovation. So this is the first challenge. The second challenge for entrepreneurial university is to move outside the silos. Now, this is a little bit tricky in the sense that I personally believe that silos, in terms of vertical knowledge, cannot be cancelled. You have to study and measure in biology or in physics or engineering. You cannot just study innovation management. What is the innovation manager if he knows nothing about biology, if he knows nothing about physics? Then the risk is you create another silos that is called innovation management. Whenever we talk about horizontal competencies, it's something that we need to have on top of the vertical learning that we have around our universities. We have good examples here. An example in Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna. The PhD students, they all follow training, all PhD students, both in robotics and in management, and I believe also agricultural studies. They follow a course that is called high-tech business venturing, which is, again, horizontal. So you are together with different perspectives on one specific need that is on the market, and you try to solve that need working together in a cross-functional environment. So do not create another silos that is entrepreneurship, but just work horizontally. Other examples that I can bring from the Italian scenario is what we call the contamination labs. Several universities establish contamination labs. There are places where people coming from different schools, even schools from humanities, design, and of course hard sciences, they're meeting together and they have to work on specific projects, often projects led by companies. So in other words, when we talk about entrepreneurial universities, I found this definition very interesting. This comes from the recent report that Robert Medellin released. It's called Opportunity Now, so how we want to promote innovation in Europe, and this is the role of universities. Universities should become the places of contamination, the places where companies are going in order to solve their problems, the places where professors get into companies in order to solve companies' problems in their premises. They should become a sort of a meeting point of the open innovation ecosystem. And then it's time to talk about money. So based on an ecosystem where we have big firms, small firms, and university, money is a resource. Money grows up if and only if the whole ecosystem works. And money works in the sense that the financial tools that we can bring in order to support technology transfer, they do work if they are in the premises of our main customers. Our main customers are not those that are giving us their money in order to manage their money and make investments. Our main customers are those that are acquiring our assets and enable us to give the money back to our investors 2 times, 3 times the amount of money that they gave us to us. So we want to be close to the big firms. The big firms are our main customer. Here are some figures coming from the US. The percentage of exits, the disinvestment that venture capitalists are doing in selling their companies to big firms is higher than 80%. 8 out of 10 companies are acquired by big firms. If you see the small, it's unfortunately very difficult to see, but there is one yellow line over there. This is just a financial exit. And the IPO that is going to a stock market is a very, very tiny percentage. Furthermore, corporations, big corporations, through what we call their corporate venture capital funds, are now accountable for nearly 30% of global venture capital investments. So corporations are investing together with venture capitalists in the perspective of acquiring the technology. So we want to be in an ecosystem where our customers are located. Under that perspective, the question would be, so venture capital is really what would boost technology transfer, is really what would enable technology transfer going in the appropriate way? Unfortunately, I believe this is not truly a truth, in the sense that venture capital funds are as old as 70 years. The first venture capital fund was established in 1946. Hasn't changed since. So we're talking about being innovative, we're talking about changing universities, we're talking about changing the habits of firms, and financial tools are always the same and never change in the last 70 years. Just a few points. Those are the timing for additional rounds in companies. You see, we are getting closer to 10 years. So the time you need to make company growth, it's easily around 10 to 12 years. We talk about Professor Sannino. He waited 10 years before seeing his technology being exploited. We're talking about R&D projects, technology transfer project. It's not happening like this. If you wait just 3 years, you don't see anything grow in terms of value. Those are the real statistics. Unfortunately, we are dealing with financial tools that work with a time horizon of 5 to 7 years if you're lucky. And this is the first question mark. The second question mark is, based on this time horizon and based on the, let's say, speculative pressures, we believe that we have to rethink this model, because this model is leading to financial speculation. Those are the data coming from the US. You might have heard about unicorns. Everybody is happy when he talks about unicorns. Unicorns are companies valued more than $1 billion. Now, the graph on the left is, the bottom line is NASDAQ valuations, NASDAQ index. The upper line is, let's say, pre-IPO rounds. You see the value has dramatically increased in private rounds, so rounds made out of market just by venture capitalists, while the real market in stock exchange did not grow up. Those lines over there, the blue line is the number of unicorn companies that have been sold. The green line is the number of unicorn companies that are still receiving money from venture capitalists or hedge funds, but have not been sold. You see, that happened in the last 2 years. We are not selling companies. Last graph, in the third quarter of 2016, nearly half of venture capital investment have been put only in unicorns. That is, the money goes where the money is already there, without having returns of those investments. So, are you really sure that this is the right tool for promoting technology transfer? We mentioned about previously the German case of a high-tech Gründerfonds. We can name the incubator and seed program of the Office of Chief Scientist in Israel. Imperial Innovation, an interesting case. There are other financial tools that I believe, or a combination of those tools, that are more effective in promoting technology transfer with financial institutions, big firms, small firms, etc. And those are exactly one of the tools few tools that I believe can be effective and might be implemented in the Adriatic region as well. So this is actually food for thoughts for any further prosecution of the Pacinno project, and I leave it for the evening in Trieste. Enjoy it.